Hello, and welcome to our channel, Vedic Solutions, preparing for the coming of the Golden Age. And I am your host, Harinama Chintamani. Today's topic has to do with scriptures of the world. This can be so sensitive when we have been brought up within a certain belief system, and we've adhered to it with all our heart and soul. When originally, some of us who were in our 20s, back in the late 60s and early 70s, came under the guidance of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who translated this whole library that you see behind me of ancient Vedic literatures from Sanskrit to English. We also were challenged in what we believe to be true, as is happening now all over the world, when we're beginning to discover that much of what we've been told has been a lie. And so, little by little, we began to understand that the more recent books that are considered the more popular religious books, like the Bible or the Holy Quran, are very, very recent in comparison with our history. So here's where it gets curious, and you start to put pieces together. How this has come down with as much misinformation as there has been. We have a council in Nicaea, 350 years after Lord Jesus was on the planet, determining with certain academics and scholars what they were going to accept, not accept. Was Jesus God? Was he not God? We have Darwin being paid by the British to come up with this theory of evolution, which has never been proved. So I'd like to offer you an example that Srila Prabhupada gave that's very apropos for this topic. And that is, if we consider these more recent texts, like the Bible or the Quran, to be like Webster's pocket dictionary. What does a pocket dictionary give? Basic understanding. It gives you the spelling of the word, how to pronounce the word, and a basic understanding of the word. It isn't going to be the same as a giant 5-book Cambridge dictionary that tells you all the ways the word has been used and all the derivations of this word and all the languages that came in to affect the pronunciation of the word and when it started to be popularly used and when the meaning changed and how the meaning is used today. All of that's not going to be there because that's not what that pocket dictionary was meant to do. So we don't have an understanding of how knowledge comes to our planet, how it is given by God from the beginning of creation. We're not just here by ourselves, trying to figure everything out, having developed from cavemen. All of this creates so much obfuscation of the truth, bewilderment of the mind, and then we end up with so many theories that are so outlandish and don't make any sense because we don't have a proper foundation. And then what happens is that very thoughtful people who begin to read these books, who have a desire to know God, who are sincere, come up against questions that they cannot find the answers to. And then they end up in the metaphysical marketplace hearing from so many speculators who are saying, in meditation, I heard this voice, or I listened to this other person channel this and this and that, or this has been my experience. One cannot make up their own idea of the universe. any more than we can make up our own laws. Now think about this. When a little child is trying to understand how he came here or she came here, it's a difficult question to answer in a way that that child can understand, because the capacity at a young age is going to be limited, right? So is a little child going to be able to figure out the complex arrangement of the Lord in a male and female coming together and how all of that happens? Not possible. How could they come up with that? If that little child was never told how any of this happened, how would they come up with all of that? They couldn't. Do you think that we created living beings can figure out how the Supreme Lord creates? We have no idea. The Vedic literatures do give us some idea of the beauty of the Lord's creation from the beginning. And that information is not in any other books in the world, only in the Vedic literatures. It is exquisite, it is beautiful, it is extraordinary beyond any of our imaginations. The power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His love for His creation, how He creates, we cannot guess. And so let us not be taken in by expertly made videos in Technicolor with authoritative voices and people in white coats telling us so many things. When I was growing up, there were people in white coats on a television who were saying 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Salem cigarettes. We forget these things. So, doctor recommendation, what does that mean? Who is this doctor? And why is he recommending this? We need to start being thoughtful, very, very thoughtful, about what we are accepting as truth. And the knowledge in these Vedic literatures is for all of us. It is not that it's for this person of faith or that person of faith. It isn't Hinduism. Did you know that the word Hindu is not even in the Vedic literatures? It has to do with the inability of those who were conquering at the time to not be able to pronounce the Indus River where these people lived and saying Hindus, and then it comes down in history as a religion. But it isn't. It's a composite of so many different types of ideas of worship, and not all of them are monotheistic. But actually, the true essence of all the Vedic literatures, even though they acknowledge there are higher beings who help the Lord in the administrative affairs, and yes, they do help the Lord in administrative affairs, just the way that we have here. As above, so below. So the Lord is highly intelligent. He's organizing this universe so expertly, we think there's no one behind it. But there are 33 million demigods who help run this universe. This information is in the Vedic literatures. It's all there. So we don't have to speculate. We don't have to guess. And we should understand how the misunderstandings have come through so that people who are thoughtful and serious and are asking, where was I before I came into this body? Where will I go when I leave? Even the understanding of reincarnation is not accepted by the majority of people who are following these more recent spiritual texts, even though as part of the original teachings, that was there, as was vegetarianism. So many things have been changed. So now we have a world that is killing millions of innocent living beings, and we want peace. Do we understand the laws of karma? Do we understand the suffering that we have brought upon ourselves by these acts? It is time to return to the land, to understanding of ourselves as a soul, to the foundation that these Vedic literatures offer for real, prosperous human civilization. And that is why we are presenting these videos, inviting all of you to take advantage. These books are available on our website, purelyprabhupada.com, and many wonderful articles you can take advantage of on our other website, purelyprabhupada.org. And if you appreciate this video and would like others to see it, please do subscribe and indicate your appreciation. We thank you so very much for listening. Hare Krishna.